Guyana's fisherfolks have been reminded of the important role they play in Guyana's fisheries sector, with Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa stressing that government is cognizant and appreciative of the sacrifices they make in pursuit of this dangerous livelihood. Minister Mustafa was at the time delivering the feature address at this year's Fisherfolk Day celebrations held at Iflot, West Coast Demerara, this past week. The event saw fisherfolk from all across the country coming together for this annual event, held under the theme this year, Protecting Livelihoods, Establishing a Safe and Sustainable Environment for Our Fisherfolk. In delivering the feature address, the Agriculture Minister noted that marine fishing remains an extremely dangerous profession and commended those involved, saying that their sacrifice will not be in vain. He said the fisheries sector contributes significantly to Guyana's efforts at maintaining food security.
The dedication of you, the ordinary fisherfolks, in sustaining our fisher industry and contributing significantly for Guyana to Guyana's food security objective. Today, it's very important that what we are doing as a government, where we are positioning our country to be, you have a very important role to play. That is why we have recognized the importance of your work, your dedication, and your role. And because of that, we have seen over the years, in 2023, we have seen an increase of 36,396 metric ton harvested in the fishing industry. That gave us an increase or a growth by 37.8%. And we heard just now also that the aquaculture industry is doing well. And we have seen growth in the aquaculture industry last year by 75%. And when we talk about all these growth and all these increases in catches, we must also match it with the revenue that you are earning for the country. And last year, we have seen a revenue of $54 million earned by the fish folks in our country and the fishing industry. You should give yourself a round of applause for that contribution you have made to the country.
According to Minister Mustafa, this performance by the fisheries sector is the result of the government's investments in the sector since resuming the reins of government in August of 2020. Investments that now means more measures to ensure the safety of fisherfolk while plying their trade, among many other benefits.
Since our return to office in 2020, our government has made significant strides to enhance the fisheries sector through initiatives aimed at improving safety, increasing sustainability, and ensuring economic security for our fisherfolks. We have strengthened our support for fishermen and co-op societies. In recent years, the Ministry of Agriculture has worked tirelessly to bolster the resilience of our fishing communities. With the establishment of the Guyana National Fisherfolks Organization, we have empowered our fisherfolks with greater representation and a stronger voice in the policy-making processes. We have resuscitated and enhance all fishing vessel landing sites across the country. And you know for a fact that that was a program initiated by His Excellency the President And you know for a fact also that we are not only talking the talks, but we are walking the walks. Many landing sites, the President, myself, and other officers within the Ministry of Agriculture, within the Fisheries Department, would have visited a number of landing sites right here on the west coast of Demerara. We have visited the main one in Georgetown, the Meadowbank Wharf. We have visited the Rosignol, then the Edwards. Those are main fishing landing sites. And we will be coming other places like the number 66 co-op societies. We are now, as I said, we have seen a massive expenditure in the fishing industry. As I am speaking here now, although we have developed and enhanced these fishing landing sites, we are also rebuilding a number of main sites. For example, only last week, we had a contract for approximately $75 million where we will refurbish the Meadowbank Wharf so that that wharf will become once again a place to be reckoned with. We'll also expend another $50 million to develop that area within the landing site there where we'll build sheds, we'll put in water, we'll do stands or stall for these fishmongers who are selling there, and we'll enhance the aesthetic of that place at Meadowbank. So today's activity, we are not coming here to just talk about fishing and the fishing industry, but we are matching the investment in the fishing industry. While we are doing that, and while we have enhanced all these landing sites across the country, we have built a new office, a new facility for fisher folks on the upper quarantine at number 79 Village there. I saw the fisherman, I'm seeing here the Fisherman Co-op Society Chairman, Mr. Jaina Ryan, and they will be enjoying that facility too. That is completely and very completed, and very shortly we will commission that building and that facility at number 79 on the quarantine.
The Agriculture Minister noted that outside of budgetary allocations for the fisheries sector, government has also been working closely with its international partners in the development of new operational policies and framework manuals to better manage the sector in conformity with international standards.
We have seen tremendous growth over the years. In 2024, $1.2 billion been allocated for the development of the fisheries and aquaculture subsector, which is expected to expand by 15%. Of this, $558 million are allocated for the development of the aquaculture industry. We have intensified anti-piracy effort, including by utilizing GPS tracking system and drone monitoring. We have installed remote monitoring devices to ensure the safety of fishermen while out at sea and negotiating compensation for fisher folks affected by the oil and gas development. In 2023, we began the acquisition of vessel tracking devices and API accesses with an investment of $15.5 million. This is essential to ensure the safety of fishing vessels and support the enforcement efforts of partnering agencies. Plans are in place to install monitoring systems for artisanal and semi-industrial industries over the next 3 to 5 years. More so, the counter-IUU fishing package with an investment of $2.5 million demonstrates our commitment to reduce illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices within our exclusive economic zone, directly benefiting over 10,000 fisher folks and safeguarding our valuable fisheries resources. Additionally, through partnership with international organizations and local stakeholders, we have introduced training programs focused on sustainable fishing practices and disaster preparedness. These efforts are essential not only in protecting our valuable marine resources, but also in ensuring our fisher folks can continue to thrive in the face of environmental and economic challenges.
Looking to the future, Minister Mustafa said government is committed to ensuring a safe and prosperous future for the fisheries sector in Guyana through the continuation of investments in innovative technology and infrastructure that will properly position the sector as a major producer in CARICOM. In her remarks, FAO's Guyana representative, Dr. Gillian Smith, said that the impacts of climate change, the degradation of fishing habitats, and the intersection of fisheries activities with other activities have had an impact on the fisheries sector on a global scale.
For the first time ever, this year gone, the amount of fish that is being eaten globally is actually being produced not by capture fisheries, marine fisheries and river fisheries, by fishermen. The amount of fish that is globally being produced and consumed, now the majority of it is coming from aquaculture, from people who are raising shrimp and fish and all kinds of other seafood and marine food in ponds, in tanks, and so on. This is a very important issue. This is a very important thing that is happening. It's a global trend that will have as well an effect on local production. Growing up in Jamaica, tiny little island, we always used to learn about the might of the Guyanese fishing sector. This is where all the fish we knew about came from. We know as we go forward that the fishing sector is not an easy sector. It's not an easy sector to make a living in. When you make a living, you make a good living. When things bad, they are really bad. There is all sorts of other things that are also impacting global fisheries. And I'm sure that for Guyana, it isn't so different. Climate change and the impact of climate change, degradation of fishing habitats, intersection of fisheries activities with other activities. All of these are impacting on a global scale fisheries. This in mind, I think it is important to consider two things, and I'm asking you today to think about two things. These are opportunities, and in order to take advantage of these opportunities, two things. One thing is collaboration. And I would like to recognize there are other partners who are working together with you and with the government of Guyana in different aspects of fisheries. So you have partners on the ground, global, and you have national collaborators who are working with you. So I want to recognize global partners who are here as well. The second thing that I'm going to ask and I'm going to put on the table is cooperation. Fishers, like many other producers, go through different waves of support and cooperation to each other. I would suggest to you going forward today and looking at taking advantage of opportunities that do exist, the demand that is increasing for fisheries products here in Guyana and around the world. We're not going to get those unless we have cooperation among fishers.